Our first product is around helping publishers understand their audience and who is ad blocking, why they're ad blocking, and what is that revenue impact to their business. Second, it's providing them choice and transparency, and that's about helping them engage with their users and say, Mr. User, it seems to us that you may or may not want to pay with advertising. If not, what are the additional opportunities to pay? So we provide a gateway to them to say, if you don't want to pay with standardized advertising, here are other choices that you can make in order to compensate us. That could be provisioning of data, that could be customization of advertising, that could be subscription. So we provide those choices to publishers, and eventually we're focused on creating global compensation preferences from a user perspective. And so as a user, you can decide where you would like to have advertisers subsidize your content consumption experience and where you'd like to pay for it directly. And that is every user's right. I think that we need to move into this era where we are much more user-centric. The online digital content community needs to take note of what users want and how they want it. And we need to provide them with that choice. And I think that publishers that provide choice to users around how they want to be compensated will be the ones that will be the most successful in the next era of digital content distribution.
And Ben, give us an idea about the state of ad blocking, if you will, maybe around the world and also on different platforms, on the desktop versus mobile, Android versus Apple. Kind of where do things stand, and where do you think they will be going in terms of consumers using this and in the next 12 months, let's say?
Sure. I mean, unfortunately, in Germany, ad block is almost 40% on desktop. In France, over 30%. In the UK, over 20%. In the US, it's just hitting about 20%. It's very, very strong within the millennial age group. It's also, if you look at sites around gaming, around technology, sometimes it's as much as 50%. As you mentioned before, Andy, in iOS this past summer, Apple allowed ad blocking to be part of the mobile ecosystem in a much stronger way than they ever have before. There was the ability on Android to download a browser that natively blocked ads, but very few people did that. On iOS, the ability to download an ad blocker was sensational news. It was one of those things that really changed the game and made us all wake up and say, this problem is not just on desktop. This problem is something that as an industry we all have to be very focused on. We have to have technological answers to the issues that we're now facing. That we perhaps have gone too far as it relates to programmatic advertising, or as it relates to not respecting the user's choice. And so we have to provide transparency in the transaction between content creator and content consumer. And if we do that, if publishers provide that transparency, then I think we will solve the issue around compensation, that we will solve the issue as it relates to satisfying the user's want of a good experience, the publisher's want of appropriate compensation, and the advertiser's want of the ability to reach an audience that's interested in their product. And that's really the Venn diagram that we're looking to solve for, right there in that sweet spot, to give to give users what they want, to give publishers what they want, to give advertisers what they want.
And Ben, just as a follow-up, in terms of the ad blocking on mobile devices, how pervasive is that, and what has sort of been the upturn since the summer, if you will, of Apple's decision?
Well, I don't know if the sky is falling, Andy. I think that there are steps in which the download, the activation, that has not hit mass market as of yet. That being said, it was on South Park last week. It was on Howard Stern. It was on the Today Show. It is something that is in the general understanding of the population. And as I was saying before, no one ever uninstalls AdBlock, unfortunately. Once it's on a device, it's there forever. And it greatly hinders a publisher's ability to monetize a user through advertising. And so, while it's not the majority of the population by any stretch of the imagination, it's something that we all have to deal with in the very near term.